Hi everyone, this is Giard, author of The Courage to Love, From Abuse to Happiness, a healing memoir. Giard, Monsieur Bonheur, Mr. Happiness, Yuku the Clown with Patch Adams. So today is going to be the reading of Chapter 4. Chapter 4, Where There's Smoke. Let's get you to the kitchen sink, Mom said as she led me into the room. When I kneeled on a chair in front of the sink, Mom instructed me to lean my head down. I was 15 and I didn't wash my hair. It was curly and oily and all over the place. I hated showers. I only took baths at home. At school, I had to take off my glasses for swim class. But I wouldn't shower in the locker room because the boys would push me and pummel me with their bars of soap. Aha, look at this tiny wiener. Ashamed, I turned toward the wall, and take off my bathing suit. I hated my body. At this time in my life, I reeked with body odor because I didn't wash myself, and the polyester shirts I wore would get saturated with sweat. I didn't mind the acrid smell, it reminded me that I actually existed. I also didn't brush my teeth and was deadly afraid of the dentist, so I just stopped going. One time, during a school bus trip to New York City, we stopped at a roadside restaurant in the middle of the night. I bought a glazed donut with a cream filling. This should keep the nightmares away, I assured myself. But when I bit into the donut, something grinded against my teeth. At first, I thought it was a pebble, but when I spat it out, I saw that it was a yellowish brown tooth. My tooth. I'd broken a tooth. Paralyzed, I held my breath and waited to feel the inevitable searing pain. But nothing happened. This doesn't make sense. When I returned from the bus trip, my mom took me to the dentist for an emergency appointment. I can't do anything for him, the dentist sighed. He has more than 30 cavities. The damage is too severe, so I'll refer you to a periodontal surgeon. My body was slowly rotting away. I had 4 appointments, one for each quadrant of my mouth. Sitting for hours in the dental chair, I bought my cassette player and headphones. My body, my body was slowly rotting away. I had 4 appointments, one for each quadrant of my mouth. Sitting for hours in the dental chair, I brought my cassette player and headphones and held on for dear life with Electric Lights Orchestra, Can't Get It Out of My Head playing. With the song's mix of classical instrument, choir, and rock, I disconnected myself from the procedure. During my high school years, I dreaded each day. I never knew what sort of abuse I'd receive. It could be anything from the sting of spitballs hurled at me, the pain of being shoved in the hallway, or the anguish brought on by the insults and mocking nicknames. For instance, "Hey chicken, did you jerk off again today?" I was the butt of everyone's jokes. I hated being forced to participate in team sports because I was always picked last, if at all. "Oh, we don't want him. You take him." The only sport I liked was wrestling, which I was pretty good at thanks to the experience I'd gained fending off my brother's attacks. "I don't want to go to school anymore." Tears flowed down my cheeks as I plead at my mother's bedside. I can't. I can't. Talk to your counselor, she answered. As I sat in the counselor's office, I tried to give some example of the bullying. Raising one eyebrow, he looked at me with disdain and said, Be a man and fight back. Stand up to those bullies. As I left his office and headed down the stairwell to my next class, I felt a sharp pain in my back. Hey, you greasy jerk off chicken! You lost a feather! I looked over my shoulder to see Francis, the slick, blonde hair, blue eyes resident bully, like Malfoy in the Harry Potter series. He was relentless with the verbal assaults and taunts. But this time, I couldn't take it anymore, so I took my counselor's advice. I stopped, turned around, grabbed Francis by the lapels, and slammed him against the wall. With my eyes burning with rage, my face red hot, and my ears filled with the pounding of rushing blood, I screamed, Stop it! Stop it! When he fought back, I shoved him even more vigorously and shrieked right in his face, Leave me alone, you fucking bastard! White as a sheet with his mouth open, he gasped for air like a fish out of water. I was trembling, but he was shaking even harder. He became as limp as a rag doll, then looked down and nodded. For the first time, I felt a lovely warmth inside me and a new serenity as I finally let go of him. This is what victory feels like. As we made our way down the stairs, I apologized to Francis for my use of force. You know, this wasn't even my idea. It was the counselor's, I admitted with guilt. Just then, he stopped and stared me down. On his face, I recognized the look my brothers gave me when they were about to attack. In a flash, he slammed me against the wall. It was over. I'd lost again. Feeling betrayed and shrinking to nothingness, I didn't return to class and left school. I had no one to turn to. No one understands what I'm going through. When I reached the sidewalk, I saw a bus coming. Maybe if I jump in front of it, the pain will stop. I took a step off the curb, but the driver honked and I moved back. I was drifting empty from the bullying, and I couldn't face my mom or my brothers. Somehow, I ended up downtown in a record shop, browsing frantically for music. Sweaty and my life being sucked away, I felt an urgent need to fill my void, so I reached out for a cassette tape. Its smooth and cold plastic wrapping felt good in my hands and made me feel I existed. Like a robot, I absent-mindedly pocketed it. Suddenly, there was a presence I could hold on to. I walked up and down the aisles, mechanically taking more cassettes. When my pant pockets were full, I bent down and stuck them in my socks. I experienced no feelings, not even pleasure. And when the security guard caught me, I just followed him to his office. Empty your pockets, he sternly ordered. Me being the silent good boy, I obeyed and put 5 or 6 cassette tapes on his desk. When he saw that I wasn't fighting back, he continued politely. Okay, that's fine. Thanks. I don't think we have too much to worry about. But much to his surprise and chagrin, I leaned over and emptied my socks for a total of a dozen cassettes. Oh man, that's too much, way too much, he said with a very sad look on his face. I'm sorry, but I have to call the cops. It's store policy. Even after hearing that, I still didn't feel anything. The officers came in full uniform, sat me in the back seat of their car, and then locked me in a cell. Sitting alone on the wooden bench, I looked back at the graffiti on the dirty green walls. One read, "Die, you fucker. Die." Yes, I wish I did. After mom came and got me, I had to go to court and apologize for my wrongdoings. The judge ordered me to write an essay on why what I had done was wrong. I thanked him and apologized again. We never spoke about it at home. I was the silent good boy, and that was how I had to remain. The following weekend, Dad came to pick up me and my brothers for lunch, as he'd been regularly doing since the divorce. He always gave us some pocket money, but this time he slipped me a couple extra bills. Go buy yourself some music, son, is all he said. But it still didn't fill the void. After previously following in his footsteps to work hard, I adopted another one of his habits and bought my first pack of cigarettes. Hidden from view behind the school, the first time I lit up, I collapsed in a violent coughing fit. I could barely breathe and felt like I was going to vomit. But after a few more puffs, presto, all my pain, shame, and the void miraculously disappeared. It works. It's fucking works. As a smoker, I was suddenly seen as cool, and the bullying stopped. At lunchtime, I got out my cigarettes and played cards with the other troublemakers. I was living the lifestyle of the school's ruling class. Francis, the staircase bully, was an elite member of this gang. When he saw me lit up a cigarette, his eyes opened wide. You want one? I offered. Yeah, sure, he said. Then he invited me to sit at his table and join in a game of cards with the other bullies. I still wasn't part of the in crowd, but I was definitely out of the out crowd. At home, I hid my cigarettes to maintain my image. By this time, my brothers had turned our former playroom in the basement into their exclusive den. The deafening beats of Black Sabbath's Iron Man, Led Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven, and King Crimson's Red shook the foundation of our home. Clouds of smoke filtered through the closed door, and the smell of weed made its way upstairs. Screams and banging doors ensued as Mom confronted them. Nothing changed, as denial and lies were the golden rules of our family. Ignorance is bliss. I decided to try some myself, thinking that it might cure my emptiness. After buying some from a neighbor, I locked myself in my room. I lit up, and my senses went into overdrive. I choked and coughed with such violence that the room spun around. The lights on the ceiling exploded like fireworks as Jimi Hendrix's Purple Haze made my eardrums blood bleed. I lost my balance and stumbled onto the bed as the room spun faster and faster. Up, up, I gotta get up. I was so dizzy, my insides were reaching up my throat. Oh shit, I'm going to puke. My vision blurred, my eyes shifted left, left, left. Then I fell on my knees and threw up. I spent the next few hours with my head in the toilet, feeling abandoned and alone. When I tried weed again a few weeks later, the same thing happened. Hopeless, I concluded that it wasn't for me. During this time, my life was an abstraction. My first hint of salvation came when I discovered like minded souls in the warped, satirical humor of the British TV series Monty Python's Flying Circus. Like the show's characters, I could be in one world for a few minutes and then have an exploding penguin interrupt my reality and create a new one. After that came a European comic strip about Philemon, a young boy who slipped under and over the frames of the page, literally breaking free of his reality. Fred, the comic strip's creator, used secret portals, mythological creatures, and vintage engraving in his art, much like Terry Gilliam did in Monty Python. Inspired, I bought some paper, pencils, and blacking and set out to create my own stories. Invigorated by these new possibilities, I entered an art supply store and bought brushes, paints, and canvas boards. Using flat colors, I painted Murky Eye, a surrealist blue and white bullseye with tentacles, surrounded by more tentacles, but none of them connecting. And then, fascinated by the vibrations and beauty of color, I created geometric patterns with gradient colors in Vibration Tree. My body rejected drugs, but art opened my eyes to a new reality. And here I'm going to put a few more paintings from those days when I did them. Thank you for coming along this journey. I love you all. You are all amazing. My book is available for you as an ebook, print book, or hardcover book. You are amazing. I believe in you. Anything you can dream of, anything you can imagine, you can make happen. Have an amazing day and see you next time. Giard from Montreal. Monsieur Bonheur, Mr. Happiness. I love you all. Bye bye.